All right. Hey guys, welcome back. How is it Thursday already? I feel like we were just here. And I guess we kind of were. Welcome to everybody rolling on in. Looks like we've got all of our traditional gang here. So glad to see you all. Let's see. There's a lot going on. That's why I was like a few minutes late getting my feed started here. I mean, I guess, I've been like trying to put it on a little early so that way you guys can hop in and whatever, but hey, you're all here. I'm just realizing that I don't have a card base, so I'm going to need to cut a card base later. We're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to do some coloring. I pulled out the colored pencils. And we're going to have fun with these. We're going to talk a little bit about white gel pens. So, Anne, I hope you're out there. If you're not, of course, you can catch us on the replay, which is good. Hello to all of my overseas friends. Paula, Cece, so good to see you. Let's see. I'm going to do some announcements. I've got some new stuff to talk about today. I'm like running behind. I really could have used an extra day coming into Thursday, but things happen, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's pop over to announcements. Okay, so glitter and shine is going to be next month's focus. Nancy says she can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? Can anyone else hear me? Nancy, turn up your volume. Let me see. Properties. Lisa can hear me. Paula can hear me. Sue can hear me. Okay, well, Nancy, maybe you need to turn up your volume. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so hey, let's get back to these announcements. In November, we're going to start our glitter and shine focus. So we've got the first 3 weeks in November. I looked at the calendar because like I didn't know how many Thursdays they were in November. There's only 4 Thursdays in November. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to do glitter and shine focus. They're not all going to be holiday cards because I know not everyone has a need for holiday cards and you should be finishing them up around that time anyway. So then when we move into December, we'll continue on with glitter and shine because there's just so many things to do with glitter and shine. And I think there's only going to be maybe 3 weeks in December. I might only do 2 weeks in December just to give myself a little extra break. I need it. I deserve it. And oh, you know what? The first week of December, I'm going to be gone. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 weeks in November. Then there's Thanksgiving week, and then I'm skipping another week. I might just publish a pre-done video for you guys and just release it on that day so you've got a little something. And then in December, we'll either do 2 or 3 weeks, again, with more glitter and shine. Okay, so everybody loves the sparkle. Everybody loves the glitter and the glow and the whatever. So we've got tons of stuff that we can do, and it's going to be really cool. Okay, so that's November and December, actually. And that's that. Okay, so I'm going to skip this next one because we're going to kind of roll into some other things. Okay, so if you are creating projects based on my technique tutorials, based on what you see here, I would love to see what you're creating. So if you are out on Instagram, tag me at Nicole Watt Creates. If you're not on Instagram, but you're on Facebook, you can tag me there too at Nicole Watt Creates. And I will get a little notification that someone has tagged me. I'd love to see what you're creating. I'd love to see how people are inspired by what I do, and it inspires me to create other stuff for you guys. All right, let's see. Affiliate links are down below for all sorts of stuff from today. There's a couple other things down there. Take a look in the description. I appreciate it when you use affiliate links to shop. That gets me a small commission. It's always at no additional cost to you. So I'd be crazy not to do them. You'd be crazy not to use them. So if you need to do some crafty shopping, if you plan on buying crafty supplies for Christmas, for your friends, for Hanukkah, for whatever holiday you have coming up, use my affiliate links. I would love to see you do that. It helps me to offset what I do here for free for you guys. It's an easy way to say thank you without taking anything else out of your pocket, because the company will send me the commission. It's always at no additional cost to you. They don't tack anything extra on to the price because you've used an affiliate link. It's always the same price. So don't worry about it. Just click on the links, go shop. If you would like to support me directly, there is a link down below and in the comments for the tip jar. That is a PayPal link. It goes directly to me as another way to say thank you for what I do here. I'm always humbled by those direct tip jar tips. Buys a cup of coffee, makes another video, you know, does all that good stuff for you guys. So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to circle back up to that Bloom Technique membership. Okay, so on Tuesdays, I have been doing technique videos. You might be getting ads in those videos. Eventually, you will definitely get ads once my page gets monetized. Sometimes they're hard to find. You've got to come out on Tuesday and find it, or you've got to come out and find me and see what is new. I'm not giving you the technique sheets. These are so awesome, and there's a huge glare on them because of the light. But I'm not giving you the technique sheets. These are something that are exclusive currently to the Bloom community membership people. And it's gone over so well that I decided to create a separate lower price membership for the technique library only. So that I was hoping to have it all 110% ready to go to open today. It will open tomorrow. If you are like really hard up and you really want to see it and whatever, you could probably get in today because that piece of it is set up. It's just not going to look all pretty and perfect. But it is out there and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. And I think you're really going to like it. If you want to hear more about it, get on the Bloom waiting list. I'm going to send out a note to everybody that's on the waiting list so that they can find out about the technique library. And so the reasons why, again, you would want to do the technique library and pay for something like that is because it's all consolidated. It's all in the same place. It's easy to search. You get the technique sheets to print, download, and turn into your own technique binder. And it is going to be at least 2 months ahead of what I put on YouTube. So I'm working on that right now. I've got enough content to be a month ahead by the time I get to the end of this weekend. And then I'll work on that next month to get ahead. So it's going to get you guys really ahead. You're going to get content ahead of time. People on YouTube that are just watching the free videos are going to get them when they get them. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick. Let me see, what do I have here? Oh, let's use this one. I know I went black. Don't freak out. Window capture. I need to set this up. Where is it? That's not the right one. Did I close it? Oh. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me resize this to get this to the right size. All right. Ta-da! So this is the technique library. New content will drop every Tuesday. As you can see, these are some that came out recently, but this will all be new stuff that you won't have seen on YouTube yet. And then you're going to have all of your techniques here. Now, if you are a part of the Bloom community, so like Paula and Cece and Anne and Nancy, you already have access to this. So you don't have to worry about joining this. You're getting this already as a part of your Bloom community membership. But this is going to be something completely separate. Well, not completely separate. It's the technique library that we already have in the Bloom community, but it's just a kind of a standalone thing. And here's what you're going to get inside. So you're going to have the video that doesn't have any salesy stuff in there. It doesn't say, come follow me on YouTube. It doesn't say any of that other junk. It doesn't lead you to another video. It's got that. It's got the supplies listed right below it. And then it's got that downloadable for the technique sheet. So it's got everything in there. It's got an easy search. So let's say I wanted to search for smush. I can start searching and it's going to come right up with anything that has the word smoosh in it. So you're going to be able to find all sorts of techniques in here very, very quickly. It is so cool. So I really am excited about being able to offer this for you guys. Hope that you, if you're not already a part of the membership, that you decide to join. And yeah, so get on the wait list. You will get more information on it, and it will hopefully be going 100% live tomorrow. It's live now. It's just not 100%, okay? But it's live now. So there we go. All right. So Nancy wants to know, is there a specific stamp or die set we'll be using for November? No. So we're just going to do like glitter and shine. So like if you've got embossing folders, we're going to do glitter and shine with that. If you've got stamp set, we're going to do, you know, some kind of embossing, heat embossing. We're going to do all sorts of things. So it shouldn't really matter what stamp sets I'm using. You should be able to translate the technique over to whatever it is that you've got. So Nancy, if you're working on some Hanukkah cards, that will, the glitter and shine hopefully will work for you. All right, let's see, what other questions do I have here? Mary, I will, yeah, absolutely sign up for the wait list, and I'll send you an email too, okay? And Trisha, I'm glad you're enjoying the technique library. Yeah, that's something new that I added in the last couple of weeks to the Bloom community. Everyone has really enjoyed it. So I'm really, really glad you guys like it. All right. One other announcement that I have. Now, this is also kind of like there's a little bonus going on with the technique library membership. So there is a flash sale that just started today. It's today, tomorrow, and Saturday for the card summit. Now I know some of you guys went to the Stamp Me Crafty, is it Stamp Me Crafty? Is that what it's called? Card Summit. And I should know this because, well, I'm going to be a speaker in the February card summit. I'm so excited. It didn't really work out for me to do the summit in July because I was too busy setting up Bloom. So I told Brandy, hold off, let me know about the next one. And she did, and I'm going to do the one in February, and I'm really, really excited. My topic is going to be on mixed media in card making, and you're going to love it. Okay, but if you missed out on all of the projects from July, the Christmas projects, I'm going to flip back over to this here. Okay, if you missed out on the Christmas projects, there is a flash sale going on this weekend. So today, tomorrow, and Saturday for the July Card Maker Summit. All right, and let me just show you what so you're going to get videos for all of these cards, 25 cards, plus you're going to get some bonuses. So let's see what you're going to get. $49 for the all access pass. So if you went to it, the free version of it in July, but you didn't get the all access pass, here's another opportunity for you to get the all access pass. So you would get access to those videos that you had access to that went away after the event was over, right? So 25 presentations, the card project workbook, which is like something ridiculous, like 200 pages long, transcripts, plus some bonus content. And there's, I think, even a bonus coupon to tailored expressions. So you're going to get all that. Plus you're going to get some things from Brandy here if you're interested in those. $10 off when you spend $5 at Tailored Expressions. Yay! So if you missed out on the All Access Pass back in July, this is your chance to get it. 25 cards, all that good stuff. All right. I'm an affiliate for that. So there's a link below. If you use my link that's down in the description, you're going to be getting a link to some coupons to get you some discounts on the new technique library. All right. So if you're interested in this, go for it. I'm going to be sending out information on that to my mailing list probably tomorrow and Saturday, just so you guys don't miss out. All right. So yeah, if you're interested in that, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat here. Let me know. Email me. Let me know. Reply back to one of my newsletters that I send out. I get that when you reply back to that, it comes back to me personally. So let me know. Oh my gosh. 15 minutes. I've been talking way too much. Okay. Let's see. So we talked about the card summit. We talked about everything else. Let's talk about today's project. All right. Here is today's project. Oh, don't forget when you go out to my blog starting at 6 o'clock tonight, the PDF will be available, the full color PDF with supplies and instructions, so you can continue to grow your project library. All right, so that will be out. Okay. Oh, hang on a second. I forgot to reset something on my camera. There we go, that's better. All right, so today's card, so cute. Oh, and I think I was doing some filming for a video for Bloom, and I put temporary adhesive in here so I could show people how I stick down my cards. And here it is. So it's all gunky inside here. All right, let's see. Okay, there we go. Today's card, so cute. And it's got a little pull here. So we're going to open up our mailbox. Oh, and it has more mail inside. It's adorable. All right, so with this, I have combined 2 stamp sets. So our primary stamp set is the mail drop set. And then I added in some snail mail stamps from last month, right? Because these guys are like meant to be together. So we're going to use this little stamp here. We're going to use the snail. All right, it's good stuff. We're going to talk about stamping white on kraft, and we're going to be using some black or white markers. So this is kind of came up because we were talking about this in Bloom, and I'm so glad you're here. So I am the proud owner of like a whole plethora of white pens. Now that we've had this conversation, they all came in and I've been messing around with them. So I wanted to show you guys first a little primer, or a little bit of something that I discovered about white gel pens. All right, so I see I got some more people joining in with us. Hi, Tanya. She's out from New Zealand. Welcome, welcome. And I saw someone else join. Who else was that? Lisa Foster. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I have a whole pile of different pens, and I wanted to try them out because, you know, like you see them online and you're like, well, I don't know if they're really going to work. How do they look, etc., etc. Okay, so I've got this whole little reference here that I made for you guys. I did all of the same things so you could see kind of how they turned out. So the first 3, which we're going to actually come back to, we're going to talk about these guys again, okay? Let me answer a question really quick. Erin is asking about Bloom. It says that registration isn't open. Yes, you are in the right place. Put your name in the waitlist email, and you'll get that information. Across the top, though, there's a little link. There should be a link there for Technique Library, so you can take a look at that, too. All right, so these first 3 are the Sakura jelly rolls. Now, these are the ones that are the most popular. Like, everyone's always using the jelly roll pens, right? But did you know they come in 3 different thicknesses, 5, 8, and 10? And even the numbers kind of give it away. So the 5 is the thinnest, 8 is medium, and 10 is fatter. So when you look at the samples here, you can even tell that the 5 is really super thin. So if you're not getting good results with your Sakura pen, see if it's a number 5, because that could be a huge problem. All right. I'm going to recommend for sure that you use an 8 or a 10 when you're talking about doing little glossy highlights and things like that. The 8 and 10 worked really well for me. The number 5 is the one that starts to run out. Yeah. So Cece, I didn't know that either. You can get a 3-pack of the 5, 8, 10 together. Or I found that you can buy the 5s in like a pack of 5 or 6. You can buy the 10s in a pack of 5 or 6, but you can't buy the 8s in a pack of 5 or 6. So you can only get the 8s separately. And yeah, it was crazy. I think I've got some links down below for you for different configurations that I found for these guys. All right, so I thought that was really interesting and is definitely something worth noting. So take a look at your Jelly Roll pen and see what number it has on it. Makes a huge difference. Because see, look, the 5 is not very bright either. So I liked the 8 or the 10. Okay, then I had a whole bunch of other ones that I had bought and had been messing around with. And the Dylusions White Linen, which is this pen. It's a shake up pen. All right, so you shake it up and it's got a tip on it like a journaling pen or whatever. Okay, I like this pen. But as you can see, it on cardstock, it starts to seep in and it doesn't leave as nice a bright white as the Sakura pen does. So again, probably a reason why people are using the Sakura pens. All right, then I got this one, the Zig Furubiori. All right, and this is a pigment, but it's a brush pen. All right, so it is going to give you this kind of result. All right, so when you're writing with it, you can get the thick and thin, and I'm not a calligraphy person yet. So, you know, you can get different looks with that. All right. So that was that one. And it does kind of seep into the paper as well. All right. The next one that I tried was the American Crafts Galaxy Marker. And this says paint like ink for dark and light paper. And this one, you don't shake this one either. This one is basically like the thin version, the bullet nib version of the Zig one. All right, so you can see kind of the difference there. This is a brush, this is a bullet. All right, and then you can see too that it was not very bright. And I don't know if it was because I had it stored up like this or not. But it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be more like a chalk marker almost, because it really seeps into the paper and it doesn't give you a white result. All right. And then the last two that I had here are these Jane Davenport ones. Storytime paint pens in Snow White, and they're both the same paint. And again, you have to shake these up. These say specifically store horizontally, and I will tell you why. Okay, so I had tried the thin one a couple days ago and see what that looks like, and then here's the thick one. So if you've got something big going on, these are probably really nice. These are like monster versions of the jelly rolls, right? Okay, but, and they are also like the little foamy tip. So you have to shake them, and then to prime them, you know, you're going to just push down a little bit. But then you've got just this beautiful paint pen, which I think is really nice. It takes a little while to dry, but it stays nice and bright. You want to leave this stored horizontally though, because this tip will dry out. So with this one, I had tried it and then I put it away and I stored it like so with the tip up, and it got kind of stuck in there and the paint stopped flowing, and I had to try really hard to get the paint to flow again. And now it even has just like a little bit of a wisp to it that it didn't have before. So these you definitely have to store horizontally. Or I guess maybe down so that the paint is going down, but you don't want the paint to drip out of them either, right? So there you go, guys. That is my journey into white pens. Thanks, Anne. I appreciate it. A good one, though, right? So we're going to go and use the Sakura pens. We're not going to use the number 5 because it really is just too dainty for a lot of instances, but the 8 and 10 are really ones worth using. So I'm going to use I think I'm going to use the 10 today, and we'll go on with that. All right. Okay. Let's back out just a little bit. All right. So along with my Jelly Roll pen, I am using a whole pile of pencils. These are my Faber-Castell Polychromos. I do not have the Prismacolors. I have the Polychromos. Okay, so that's what I will be using today, along with the scrapbook.com white pigment ink. You can use any white pigment ink. This is a water-based white pigment ink. The other one that I really like is the Hero Arts Unicorn White. It's fantastic. Both of them are fantastic. Okay, and then two other pencils that I'm going to be using are the Derwent Chinese White. Okay, we're going to use this actually with the pencils for some blending and stuff. And then a Prismacolor Colorless Blender. Did you know that they can get a colorless blender in color pencils? So this is really just a white wax or a translucent clear wax pencil, and you use this to help blending. So the other options that you have with that, if you don't have the pencils, is to use Gamsol. I have never used Gamsol. I just bought this because I've been meaning to get it and I just hadn't really bothered to. But you can use Gamsol in a little brush or like a little paper stump to do your blending with color pencils. But I'm going to be using the Prismacolor pencil today. So this is another great option if you don't want to have the liquid in your house or in your craft space. Even though this is odorless, it's still combustible, etc. So maybe you don't want to have this. The pencil is a really great alternative. All right. So the paper I'm using also, this paper, I love this, is called Paper Bag by Lawn Fawn. It's a little thicker, but it's also darker. So I really like this as a dark color for what we're going to be doing today. All right, so let's dive into some work here. I've got a whole bunch of little pieces here. The blue is for our sentiment. I don't even know that I'm going to be using my MISTI. Okay, so we're going to start off by doing our little background. And I'm going to do, this is a piece of, what are these called? Sticky sheets by Sizzix. I cut them down. They're supposed to fit on like your Sizzix sheets, your plates for your die cut machine. I just cut them out for regular use. So I'm putting down just a piece of this so that I can keep my cardstock nice and in place when I'm doing my stamping. All right, because we're actually going to be doing some repeat stamping here. All right, so we're going to pull out some images, and we're going to use this one that's got the little heart on it. And then I pulled out a whole bunch of images from here. So the stamp, and I pulled out, what else did I use? Oh, the big snail, because he's so cute. And then I did actually put words in here. I did happy now. All right, so I've got this long acrylic block. Got this one is from scrapbook.com. I like that it's got the wavy edges. It makes it really easy to hold. All right, and I'm going to just put these in order. So I'm using the center squares here to align this all. And let's put one down. This is the biggest one. All right, and then we'll do a happy mail. So I'm just centering them between that top and bottom line. Yeah, Cece, so I cannot answer that question right now because I've never used Gamsol. I think a lot of people use Bristol paper. I don't know. All right, so there's my little grouping. I've got snail mail, haha, snail mail, happy mail, and then the little stamp. All right, you could add, what could you add? I don't know that there's much more to add that isn't this size. You could do the hello friend if you wanted to. You'd need a little longer block though. All right, so I'm going to use the grid on my mat to kind of help line things up. And I really like this pigment ink. It goes down great the first time. I'm going to center right off of my center line here. So if I stand up and I try to get my head right over, I can actually use the lines on my block along with the lines on my grid to get everything in place. As I shake everything. And there we go. All right, so I'm gonna ink this up again. And I'm just gonna move it. And on my original one, I only ended up getting 3 rows. I want to get this a little tighter so I can have a little row popping off the top. Okay. So there's one side of it. And then in order to not have to like move everything around, I'm just re-inking and then I'll go on the other side here. All right, and we'll wipe that up later. All right, and then I'll go down to the bottom and maybe I'll only go over 1. And it's okay if the words fall off, right? Because that's how pattern paper is, right? So right now I'm standing up so I can get a better view. So, you know, do what you need to do. Sorry if my head just got in the way there, didn't it? In order to get things to work. So I think I'm going to like this one better already. Because I'm going to get that little cut off at the top. That makes me happy. There. Right. Let me grab a towel. All right. So now we have a cute little repeating pattern. See how easy that was? You didn't have to use a stamp positioner or anything like that. If you've got your ink is really inked up, it works really well. All right. I'm glad you ladies could help Cece with her questions. So there we go. Oh, we're going to need this guy again. Oh, I'm going to need that one again. Okay, so this is good. I'm going to set this aside while we do some other stamping. Okay, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to use this at all. Okay. Just going to grab a different size block. And do that. Okay, so I didn't want to have the word post. So we're going to do just some simple masking. And Lisa, when you've got squares on your block and squares in front of you, if you stand over the top of it, you can line them up and you'll get a beautiful square stamp every time. All right. So that works out really, really well. Okay. Yeah, and Trisha, I really like the look too. The white on kraft is awesome. Okay, so we're doing some more. Don't forget to take your masks off after you've inked, because otherwise you'll just get a big blob there. And that's not what we want. All right, so now I've got a mailbox front without the word in it. You can leave it in there. It's going to get covered up a little bit, so if you want it, keep it. It doesn't really matter. But this way, if you wanted to, you could put something else in there. Okay, so then we need the back side of this, and it's a little taller, so I'm going to do it just on a separate little piece I had here. So this is the back. little flag on it. Cece, have you seen people's mailboxes? People have been sharing their mailboxes on both in the Bloom community and out on Instagram, because Cece thought that this was just something in the movies, and she shared her mailbox, which is really cool looking. Let's see, so we need a flower and those as well. So I think that's it. I think that's it. All right, so some mail for in the mailbox. All right. And flowers and postage stamp. Have you noticed I've been putting the lid on every time? Well, that's because like I don't want to get my hand in it. I'm really good at doing that. Right. And just one more postage stamp. All right, so that's really all for our inking up. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you know what? Let me, we always need the little action stamp. So let me grab that while I'm thinking about it. And I'm just going to kind of put him up here in the corner so we don't forget. Okay. Now we get to color. All right. That is done, and that is done. All right. No, you did not, Sue. You misheard me. Okay, so here are our project pieces. Now, I'm not really doing, the only thing I'm doing a lot of like blending and stuff with is the front of the mailbox. Everything else is going to be simple coloring. So I just went through my colored pencils and I have all of the Polychromos, and I picked out ones that would look good together. And how did I do that? Well, I used the color wheel. So these guys kind of rotate around on the color wheel together. They look really good together. So kind of like the green blues and then the red purples, the blue, how do I put that? The blue reds. So that's kind of what these violets are. There's a little bit of blue in them, so that makes them a little softer, makes them look really good with the purples. And then for a nice pop, just a couple of greens. All right, this is a really great classic color combos. It always look good together. All right, so I just picked some colors that were close, so I went like a little monochrome when I went for my color families. And so we get super close up. Okay, so these 3 colors that I have here, you can do whatever color you want, which is a great thing about this. These 3 here are Magenta Hill, Purple Rosa Middle, or Middle Purple Pink, I should say, and then Light Red Violet. So, I'm sorry, Light Magenta. I was reading the German. Okay, so I'm just going to color in these hearts. That's all I'm coloring in on this background piece. So I'm trying to keep the white visible. And I can really go for a burnish on these. I don't need to worry about blending or anything. So if you want, you can really get in there with that. Now, if you don't want to go too far with the pencil, then you're going to take your colorless blending pencil, this Prismacolor, and then just go over this to burnish it. And this is going to move that color around a little bit and get it all to look nice and solid. Oh, one thing that you should have. Actually, I've got a couple. Is something like this, a little brush to brush away your colored pencil, or something like this to help brush it away. Don't use your hand, because if you use your hand, you will swipe that color, and if there's little bits of color dust there, it may actually swipe that color across your project, which you don't want to do. All right, so I kind of went over this line a little bit here. All right, so when you're working with the colorless blender, it's going to be your last step. All right, and you probably want to have, just grab yourself a piece of scrap paper too, because see, look, I've got some pink now on the end of that, and if I go into a different color, I don't want that to transfer over, so I'll get that to come off. All right, so I can go through and do all sorts of different colors if I want. I can do all of these large ones, maybe in the same shade. I almost blew that. There we go. Do I have any other? Got this down here. So don't forget to look on your little cutoffs here and see if you've got a little bit there. Don't want to forget those. Right, so basically you've made your own designer paper, right? Your own pattern paper. And now we're just adding a little bit of life to it. All right. The blender pencil is Prismacolor. Okay. And then I'm going to do I'm just doing the hearts. So the little hearts on the mill here. This one here. All right, and that's it. There we go. Okay, so all my hearts are done. And we could just finish this piece off, right? So I'm going to take my Sakura pencil here, or my pen. You could use the Derwent Chinese White. If you did, you would get kind of a soft look, which is really quite nice. So if you want just that soft look, just use your Chinese White pencil and put in just a little semicircle, just a little semi kind of thing. All right, like a little apostrophe. It's hard to get into these little ones though, so that's why the Sakura pen is a little better. So when you're using the Sakura pen, you don't want to push hard, because when you push hard is when you start to break up the ink and the roller ball isn't going to roll in here. So with a light hand, you can get a good result. And we're just going to make little commas or little apostrophes on these guys. On these little ones, it's like you're just putting a little dot there almost. All right, so if I want to brighten these up now, I can put the jelly roll on top of it. There you go. So now I have a little bit of movement here. And that is going to do our background. So we can set this aside. You could put this on your card base now if you wanted to. But we've got some other pieces to work. So let's work this guy first. He's pretty easy. So I just want to give it a little bit of color. I've got my blues here. So my mailbox is going to be blue. I've got a variety of blues here. I've got Helio Turquoise. I've got dark indigo. I've got cobalt turquoise, and I have Prussian blue. All right. So I'm just going to take the Prussian blue and do just a little bit of light coloring in the back. A lot of this is going to be covered up by the little envelopes. So this big background section doesn't need much. Because I'm coloring at this angle here, I want to go all at the same angle. I think it gives me a better look as I'm filling this in. All right, so I just wanted this kind of light color. And I can come back with my Prismacolor Colorless. And this is a really good example of how this blends. So you can see how it's kind of blending that color together. So there's a real difference. All right, it gives it more of a solid look. When you're working with colored pencils, you definitely want to kind of rotate your pencil as you go to find the new sharp edge. And then at some point, of course, you're going to have to sharpen your pencil. All right, so I didn't really care much about this background except that I wanted it to be kind of bluish. So when I put the things on top of it, it doesn't look like it's been neglected. All right, so it's just kind of a blue color. I'm going to go sharpen my pencil. Okay, so let me bring in the final product so you can see this a little bit better. All right, so in here, you can see that I've gone a little bit darker on the sides here. And then I've done a whole lot more on this little front cover. All right. So let's do that. I'm still working with my Prussian blue. And I'm going to, with a little bit more pressure, put down this next layer of color. Still haven't filled it in completely. All right, same thing with the bottom here. And the sides. And you know, I just noticed, and it doesn't really seem to matter, but on my original, I did not do anything with the post. So if you want to color that in, you know, black or whatever, go for it. All right, so I'm going to leave a little bit right here. I'm going to go in with a lighter color, my Helio Turquoise, and start filling this in. So these two are going to start blending together. And all the while, I'm trying to keep that white outline because I really do still want to see that. It's kind of like a reverse of what you would be doing with a black stamped image. Okay, so I've got this little space here. This is where the light is going to come hit it. So I want this to be a little bit more of the turquoise color. All right, and then I'm going to come in with the Chinese white and put just a little bit on top here. And see what that did? It didn't turn it white. It turned it a lighter shade of that blue. I didn't push hard. If I had pushed hard, I probably would have gotten more of a white. But if you just kind of go over it a little bit, then what you're getting is a blend of the color instead of trying to force the white into it. All right, so that's giving that little side some dimension there. All right, so another reason to have a little scrap paper around is that with your white pencil, a lot of times you have to clean that one up too. All right. So there we go. I don't really need to use the blender on this one because the dark colors really blended well together. And then the white over the top of it looks pretty good. So you really don't need to blend this if you don't want to. All right, so I've got some dust on there. I need to dust that off. And then on my little flag, I just went for the really dark color, the dark indigo. And again, I'm going to stay inside those white lines. All right, so there we go. There's our first little piece. Okay, if you want to add some highlights to this one, we can. We can do a little highlight on our little flag. So the flag is usually metal and it might get a little highlight on it. So I'm just making a little, just following the shape a little bit. Okay. If you wanted to make this more of a highlight here, you could add some white to it, but I'm not going to. You can also put some little low lights and things like that in the back here if you wanted to, you know, do something like that, but you don't need to. I just like it on the flag there. Now, if you've gone over your lines, you can use the pen, excuse me, to kind of reinvigorate them. I go over them with my finger a little bit just to dull them. That looks pretty good. All right, set that one aside. So that's ready for die cutting. So we've got another heart here. Let's do, what color did I do on this? I did that one. I'm going to do this kind of purpley color. And again, I'm just doing the solid color on this one, so I can really just go for it. All right, and then just like I did on the background, another little flip there. Okay. For our little cards on the inside, not much going on here. So for this one, I did just a little bit of white, and then this one I did a little pink background on it. So let's do that. All right, so this little heart is easy. Then we've already done these. Okay, so to get a little bit of shading underneath, I'm going to do this really soft, kind of coming at it from more of the side versus the tip, right? So just a little bit underneath the flap here. Okay, and then I'm going to take Prismacolor, just like you kind of like you would with a Copic, I guess, with the Colorless Blender, and use that to kind of soften it up and blend it out a little bit, so you don't have those harsh lines. All right, so just a little bit of a highlight there. And then on this one, I just did some white, because this was just a nice white envelope or craft envelope, whatever you want to call it. So just a little bit in the corner there. And then I'm going to color in the heart. Right, and here too, I can use the blender to soften up that Chinese white. All right. So cute. Okay, so let's do up these guys because these are really quick as well. Just like last week, I'm gonna pick like one color for one type of flower and then one color for the other type of flower. So I'm gonna do these guys here in white. So like little white daisies, I guess. And we're going to define that little center circle with the Sakura pen. So that's going to really stand out. And this kind of reminds me of last week's as well. So last week we did this stamp on white cardstock and then we colored it, but then we colored all around it in black. So that way it really matched up with the black background. This is the same thing. So we've stamped this on the brown kraft and it's going to blend in with everything. It's not going to have like a harsh outline from the die cutting. Okay, so that is all of those. We got two shades of green here. I picked out May green and green yellowish, earth green yellowish, I guess. And we're just going to do all these little guys. And yeah, I totally agree. I think these are really bright and vibrant. And I love the way that they look. So on these guys, I will do the darker green. And I'm leaving just a little bit on the tip here. I'll fill that in with the other green. It's just a little bit of blending. I take the same approach to this as I do my Copics. I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours on a card project. I want it to look nice. I want it to have some shading to it. I want it to be something that the recipient says, oh, I really like that. But knowing that eventually it may end up in a recycle bin somewhere. I would rather spend more time on a project that is going to go on a wall or something like that than this project. So that's just my philosophy. I'm going to sharpen these because I need really sharp tips for this. So for these, because I have little segments, I'm going to color them in different colors. So just a little here, just a little there. And move to another color and fill in a couple other little spots. It'll be kind of like, almost like a stained glass concept, filling on all these little spaces with different colors. There. Okay. So that we need to get some of our Sakura on. So again, like I said, I'm just going to do the centers of these white flowers and watch how these pop. Looks awesome. Really, really love the way that looks. All right, so we're down to our last piece here. Thanks for sticking it out for me, guys, with me. I know we're going a little long today because I had a lot to talk about. Okay, so this little piece back here is our the side of the door, like the dimension to it, right? So this is going to be about as dark as it gets. And I'm going to pull in a lighter color. We'll get some Chinese white in that later. All right, so then I'm going to start with this lighter color. This is Helio Turquoise. And start doing the front of this. Kraft has always been a favorite color of mine. I love it when I can do a craft background or I love using craft envelopes. They're just so, something about it, I think it looks elevated to me. All right, so I didn't really fill this in hard. So I've got, this is the cobalt turquoise, like cobalt turquoise. What I love about the look that I'm getting here is that it reminds me of a mailbox that's been painted a couple times. So you're seeing some of that color kind of sneaking through. And it just looks like it's been painted and painted over again. Kind of the same color, but not quite. And this is going to look like completely different than the first one that I did. Because there's really no formula to it. I mean, like every time you color something like this, whether it's Copics or colored pencils or watercoloring or whatever, you're doing something slightly different every time. You're not doing the same exact strokes and that kind of thing. So it's always going to look different. Okay. So this little bit up here, I'm going to do in white. So I'll do that later. Okay, so now we need to get into the center piece here. And I don't want it to be like completely coated. So I'm going to take this lighter turquoise and just kind of shade in the whole thing. So unlike Copics, if you're working on something that's going to be shaded in different colors, and you're working on like a lot of shading and what have you, I prefer to work from light to dark because working from dark to light just doesn't really work out as well. All right, so now I've got like a nice light base of this turquoise. So we'll move to our next color, the Helio Turquoise, and start working in shadows. So there would be some under this little piece here, and definitely down here on the sides. And I kind of want this to work its way up. But I don't want it to be like a ring and a ring and a ring. And I have to say, I was inspired by your faded mailbox. So here, see, look, I've gone out a little bit, bringing in a little bit of that darker color. I skipped a little spot, just did a little squiggle. Okay, we're gonna go over this whole thing with the blending pencils, so that's going to help blend some of this together. So that was our second darkest color. Our third darkest color is this Prussian blue. So again, I'm going to hit these really low spots in the corners here. That's going to really recess that. And then up here in the corner, just a little bit. And then maybe a little bit down the sides. Still trying to keep a little bit of that idea of this white line here too. Like the edges of the mailbox is silver underneath maybe, or white underneath, and it's been worn on those edges. You know how those edges always get worn off first. So I'm kind of trying to keep those there. All right. And then my darkest color, my indigo, my dark indigo, right down in the crack there. Just that nice little corner. All right. See how that just kind of popped that up a little bit? Okay. So let's get some blending here. All right, and that looks like a nice little weathered mailbox. All right, I want to add in a little bit of softness though. I'm going to take my Chinese white and I'm just going to kind of go around these little corners here. And go into that space in between the two and kind of clean that up a little bit. All right, so this is a little softer way to add in those highlights without using the jelly roll. So I wanted this to be just a little bit softer. All right, and oh, I wanted to get this guy too. Such a bad habit of like wiping it off with my hand. I know I shouldn't do that. Just told you guys not to do that. All right, so there's our mailbox front. If you want to add jelly roll to this, let me show you what that looks like. So get some really glossy highlights on that. If you want, you can do something like that. I think in the end, it looks better because we've got some of those going on. So with the rest of the card. So this just kind of brings it all together. So again, I'm making more of a hard highlight right here, following that space. You can even do just a little squiggle at the bottom to extend it. And then I just did some squiggles. It's amazing to me how well this generally works over the Polychromo. If, again, another reason to have a little scrap pen paper here is to just make sure that your pen is working. And I didn't want this to be like solid or anything. I just did some little squiggles down the side. And I think that looks really great. Ta-da! All right. So now it is Diecut Palooza time. And we'll get this all cut out and assembled. So the assembly on this is not difficult. So just need that from that one. That, and that. So this one here has the little feet, and we want to make sure that we keep those feet for when we're putting together our project. They don't have to be the whole length, so you see how this is going to get cut off here. That's all right. Those are just the little flaps that put everything together. Right. So, and that will go through the die cut machine. If you don't think it's going to, you could always cut that off and run it through separately. So there's that, and my flowers. And again, remember these, there's like 3 little points, 1, 2, 3. Those are the little fronds with the multi leaves on them. And I just have all these little extra pieces that I've been using over and over, just sitting on the side of my desk here. All right. Isn't that great? Yeah, I mean, I could just cut those all out at the same time. Okay, so there's my... So you could turn this into just a good old American mailbox too if you wanted to. I don't know why that didn't cut out. All right, so those didn't cut for some reason, so we'll run that through again. Probably because they were close to that. Sometimes it loses its pressure and they just don't cut through. There we go. All right, and then I need my mailbox back piece, which is a different, so it's the one with the flag on it. And then I've got this little script hello, and I already have a piece of navy blue cardstock with some double-sided adhesive on the back of it already. So that's going to cut out that. And I am going to use my shim for this, so that way this guy cuts out perfectly. Come on. Okay, so Sue wants to know if it's necessary to have a small die cutting machine like this guy here. I think the answer is no. It's definitely not necessary. What I do find is like it keeps me from always having to walk over to my Gemini. It works out really great for videos, obviously, because then I don't have to keep going back and forth. But no, you definitely don't need to have one. Okay, so that's cut out good. It's really convenient though. And it's great for travel. So if you're gonna ever be traveling and crafting, to have a little mini die cut machine would be great. We're on the home stretch, guys. Sorry about the extra time. I know you don't mind though. All right, so here is my card base. It is 11 by 4 1/4. So we're going to do a hot dog fold, and it's going to open sideways. And you know, normally I would score that and all that kind of stuff. Saving some time today. Okay, so this guy pops right on here. So the rest of this is really, the assembly is quite straightforward. So that guy's right on there. So cute, just all on its own. You could just put like a big hello on here and that would be perfect. You wouldn't even have to go through all the other effort that we just did. Okay, so now we're gonna create our little mailbox. So this guy has these little tabs here. And what I noticed about putting this on here is that there's this little angle here for the side of the mailbox. So you want to line up your mailbox on the right side. And then this little tab here, I've been kind of angling slightly so that it matches up with the angle on the side of the box. So when it goes over, the one kind of angles in slightly. Okay. Yes, so Sue, for a crop, definitely, I mean, obviously it's going to save room in your, whatever it is you're packing to go to the crop, lugging it around and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that you just need to be careful of is the width of the platform. So the one that I'm using is the one from Altenew. That's their mini blossom. It's only 3 inches wide. So know that you would only be able to get a die through there that's 3 inches. There are other smaller die machines that are like 4 1/4 wide, which I find would probably be a little bit more advantageous because most of your dies then would fit through no matter what. So just something to think about when you're looking for a little die machine. I want to say that some of those other ones with the wider bed came out after I got this one. Otherwise, I would definitely consider getting one. Okay, so there we go. Isn't it so adorable? And it's nice and secure. Excellent. We can put this guy right down wherever we want. We want to give it a little bit of room because our little postage stamp is going to stick out and we want to see that little heart for the most part. All right, so that's a good place for it. Just going to keep that postage stamp in there while I glue this down so I don't lose its location. Yeah, I think the mini blossom is great. But like I said, I would also consider getting one that's just a little bit wider. Yes, exactly, Sue. It's just like little paper doll tabs, absolutely, on here. So you see how he's just going to want to stay open. That's why we're going to use a little, that little pull here tab to kind of keep this closed in a minute. So let's get our flowers on here. Everything else just kind of comes together. So I just decided you could leave this nice and plain if you wanted. I thought it looked kind of nice with the flowers on it. So I just pop those there. And then when you do that, though, make sure that you're not extending past the bottom because you want it to still be able to open up. All right, let me zoom in just a little bit. All right. And then on the inside, I just have this little trio of things. And you just, except for our little postage stamp here, we don't want anything else to be seen. So the postage stamp kind of makes sure that it coordinates with the flowers here, that you can see most of it. All right, and then we can put our other elements in place. And I find with these guys, like, you don't want them all to be going the same angle because that just looks not right. So that's pretty good. You see how this is popping up a little bit here? I'm just going to take a little bit and do a little shim just to keep that all in place. There we go. All right, so that's that. And then we've got our hello. And you can put highlights on this, or you can leave it without. It's another great use for your pokey tool. It keeps your hands out of the way so you can see where it's going to get placed. All right, there it is. And then the last thing we have is our little pull here tab. And actually, it should say lift here, but that's all this one comes with. There's, like I said, there's other brands out there that have more of these little interactive prompts, so that way you can really create whatever you want it to say. So what I'm doing is putting it here, kind of out of the way as much as I can of the heart, but so that it covers this a little bit to keep it shut. All right, so it kind of blends in. And I've got it mostly out of the way of the heart there. But you see that little bit there is just holding that shut. So they'll be able to pull here to open. So cute. And once that dries, that'll be perfect. There you go. As far as doing a little bit of highlights on the hello, I did them here, and I thought, well, maybe I would leave this one plain, but the more that I look at it, I really like the little glossies on here. So let me just show you that one last thing. Pull out my Jelly Roll pen one more time. All right, so you don't want to put them everywhere because that's just like too much. You may as well just outline it. But remember, so our highlights have all been on the left side. We want to keep, or on the right side, we want to keep that consistent. So just look for parts on the right that are that could easily be little highlights. So the little side of the H, the sides of these L's. The O gets a little tricky because you've got this little break here. So I like to do a little bit above, a little bit below, and a little bit on. Actually, there's a little dot there from the die, which works out really nice. And then just a little on the top of the E here. But I didn't do any of these little low spots or anything like that. And you can even do a little on, just a little tiny bit right there. And there you go. So cute. There it is. So, oh, there we go. Thanks for sticking it out with me, guys. That was a little marathon session, but we had a lot of fun with the coloring, Gave you guys a little bit of some tips on the white pens, which I think is really invaluable. So if you go back and watch this again to catch a little bit more information on how all of these white pens work, I might have to pull this out and do a separate video on various white pens and how to test them and things like that. But this is really good information. So good information on the white pens. We had fun with the colored pencils. We talked about another way to blend colored pencils with our Prismacolor blender instead of with Gamsol. And of course we did some amazing fun stuff on kraft, which I love. I just absolutely love working with kraft. So I'm glad you guys joined me. I'm glad you stuck it out. Thank you for being here. If you missed the announcements at the beginning, go check them out on your way out today. If you loved today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, I would love for you to subscribe. And I can see you here again next week for another Running with Scissors. Don't forget, if you need to do any shopping, there's affiliate links below, and I really appreciate you using them. If you want more information about the Technique Library or the Bloom membership, there is a link below to get onto that waiting list and get more information. I'll be sending some more information out about that actually tomorrow and Saturday. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I hope you get some time to craft. If you create projects that are inspired by what I've done here, don't forget to tag me at Nicole Creates, and I will see you here next Thursday for more Running with Scissors. Thanks, guys. Bye.